This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
What up, party people? Welcome back to Saturday Morning Mysteries, Crime Caper episode version thing. We're your hosts. I'm Grace.
I'm Alexis.
And we're super stoked that you're here for some bonus content in which we discuss some funny crime caper stories. We also have Toon Tangents, which are just us talking about cartoons. These are us telling, crime capers are us telling funny crime stories. And today we have some from Alexis. So I'm very excited about, and we do want to preempt this both with perhaps, and I guess I don't know how graphic or anything it's going to be, perhaps trigger warning of these are, one of them at least has to do with a murder. Two have to do with murder. And we want to say up front of, one, so you know, if you're not coming in ready and expecting that. But in these, we obviously are here to make fun of the dumb criminals. We're not, and because we deal with these hard subjects with humor, not just about crime, but like anything in life, we deal with it with humor personally.
When things are tough to talk about, just laugh at them instead.
It's our coping mechanism. And that we are laughing at the perpetrator, not the victims, the victims' families, anyone impacted by it, except for the dumbass who did it, maybe.
And as you'll hear, the mention of murder, it's pretty minimal because, as Grace said, we're focusing on the criminal, the culprit, not so much on the crime they caused, but their way almost of getting out of that crime. So just, wanted to give that little bit of a disclaimer. We are obviously always respectful, or we try to be respectful. We try our absolute best. And so this is us being respectful and giving that warning ahead of time. And so if you hear laughing in between certain words or certain stories here, just remember, we warned you.
This is our disclaimer. And with that, I have no idea what you're going to tell me about today. So I'm so excited.
Yeah. So I'm gonna mostly focus on like more kind of court proceedings, obviously, but obviously the crimes are very important to those proceedings. I'm going to talk about a few today. And I guess if there was one way I could describe this like crime caper episode, it would be like defective defenses. So essentially someone causes a crime, and I should preface that too by saying not defective defenses and maybe the most literal terms for any actual lawyers listening, but more so because that is like an actual legal defense.
I was going to ask
not a legal defense, a legal principle where the way you proclaim this defense is defective. No. These are really just dumb defenses, like people using really dumb excuses to try to get away with either horrible or just pretty crappy, shitty crimes. So I've got a few here I'm going to talk about. I won't start off with the murder one. I'll actually start off with the maybe slightly more lighthearted one. And Grace, you'll perhaps enjoy this a little bit more than others because it's somewhere kind of near your area of the country a bit.
There's a lot of also murder up here just in general. A lot of serial killers come from the Northwest.
Oh man. Well, perhaps the perpetrator in this story was confused for one of those serial killers. So anyway, yes, I got this from an article entitled "Portland, Oregon Man Tased 5 Times While Holding Kung Fu DVDs, Awarded $250,000." So yes, a man holding Kung Fu DVDs was tased 5 times. And this is an article by Maxine Bernstein. I believe it's from Oregon Live. And it's a bit of an older case. So what happened was in 2008, there was a Portland police officer doing his usual late night routes. He was walking the streets around like 1 a.m. and he saw a group of people spray painting or like tagging the top of a building. And, he began chase. He gets out of his car and starts chasing them. It's pretty empty street. It's late at night. And this other man happens to also be walking down the same street. as the police officer is giving chase. And I guess, yes, indeed. He got confused and he tased this guy.
The cop got confused and tased this man on the street.
On the street, yes. He tased this man 5 times in total and, pushed his face into the ground, shoved him down, all of that. This guy was like very heavily bruised, lacerated, and again, tased 5 times. Like that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Turns out this man, it was just an innocent bystander leaving, I believe it was like a local bar or like maybe a bowling alley or something with friends that night. And he happened to just run into that cop on his way home. He maybe had a few drinks. So, but hey, it's a free country. We're allowed to go out and have a few drinks on the weekend.
Yeah, and go walk home safely.
Exactly. And it all happened so quickly, apparently, as he's walking, like he sees a flashlight saying freeze, and he turns around and starts running because it's late at night. He didn't know who the hell was telling him to freeze.
Right.
And next thing he's getting tased.
Immediately.
Exactly.
No, fuck you. I'm out.
I would be a little scared. And like you said, in Oregon, there's unfortunately like a lot of murder out there, a lot of serial killers. You don't just like stop for anyone in the middle of the street at 1 a.m, especially if you've had a couple of drinks. Like, no, get out of there, get to safety. So yes, as it turns out, this is a constitutional violation. This is definitely an excessive force case. So the city of Portland did have to end up defending, I should say, the police officer in court against federal authorities or, federal prosecutors. And one of the things that they kind of questioned this unfortunate bystander about, kind of as a defense on behalf of the police officer.
The city was questioning the defense of the cop.
The city, yes, in defense of the cop, the city was asking whether the man's collection of Kung Fu DVDs may have played a role in his resisting arrest from the authorities. Like, hey man, I don't know, you collect Kung Fu DVDs. And I think it may have said somewhere in the article that he actually was like, he had them with him, maybe, I don't know. So, but regardless, they found out that this guy had an obsession with Kung Fu movies, and they're like, so that's why he was resisting arrest, and that's why this wasn't actually an excessive force case, even though this is totally not the perpetrator whatsoever.
Also, I'm just picturing was the defense did they have a Kung Fu DVD from Blockbuster that they one, they either put in the wheeled out TV and look at what they do in Kung Fu movies, or 2, did they take one and cut it like a ninja star to be it was a weapon?
See, it's dangerous.
Yeah, so
right. A little bit of both. He was interested in turning his DVDs into weapons and studying his DVDs to make himself a weapon. No, it was obviously neither. Well, okay, so I don't know if they actually wheeled in or played any of the movies for the jury to actually look oh, I don't know, this is pretty violent. This, if I watched this, I too would also resist. I would resist arrest.
Also, if I was a jury member, I'd be like, fuck yeah, put that movie on. That's so much more fun than this shit.
Jet Li, I love Jet Li.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn it up. This is my favorite scene.
Yeah, is that Jackie Chan? Hell yeah.
They put it in the jury instructions. If you think that Jackie Chan deserved an Oscar for this role, then you must find. Exactly. It was so realistic. How could you not be inspired?
Cut to the jury room, and it's a bunch of adults just practicing kung fu and nunchuck moves like children, because they're this guy's clearly innocent, but we need to buy some time. Let's
So we're gonna need a couple more days to deliberate on this one.
We need more kung fu movies and popcorn.
Yeah. Please, more popcorn and also some Sprite if you've got any. So the jury, obviously, though, they were not buying it.
Thanks, Jesus.
As I said before, the city did have to pay up almost $250,000.
Yeah,
Good, right? Because the jury probably they were also fans of at least a few Kung Fu movies. I didn't see the actual makeup or the jury pool. And who was on there, but if it was a bunch of I guess Gen X men or whatever, because this was back in 2008, so some 20 or 30-year-old men, something tells me that they were not going to buy that defense whatsoever from the city, or even that insinuation.
They went home,
so that one didn't work.
Kung Fu collections, because they were I can get tried for that.
Can't get in trouble. Don't get me locked up. Who knew? And had me worried too, because I definitely watched a decent amount of Kung Fu movies growing up. So I was am I gonna hurt someone one day?
Do I have the power of the
is
hidden
this how
fist?
it works? Yes.
Oh God. Also, like my then side reaction is like, oh God, in one of my Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, I play a monk. Am I a kung fu master?
Yeah.
Like, no, I play one on a tabletop role-playing game. It's very different.
Yeah. Very different from even watching a professional one. But hey, it's like that argument, video games make you violent, I guess.
Yep, kung fu movies too, apparently.
This was taking it to a little bit of a extra level,
desperate level. I would call that a desperate defense, not even just a defective defense.
Defective, yeah, desperate. Actually, you're right. Damn, look at you naming my episodes better than I can.
I did toss get into law school and then not go. So
true. This is true.
A lawyer.
And actually, now that you mention it, I kind of like desperate a little bit more for all of these. So boom, right there. I'm stealing your idea, defense. But I'm gonna act like it was mine until people get this far in the video and realize that it was totally yours. So
great.
Desperate defense.
I'm ready for the next desperate defense.
For another desperate defense that unfortunately involves murder, but the culprit, the murderer, was way too desperate trying to get himself out of this one. Okay. It comes from an article that is entitled, "The Obesity Defense Fails. Too Fat to Kill Defendant Convicted." So in this case, the defendant was arguing, he was a 299-pound man. Okay. He was arguing that he was too fat to have committed a murder. And unsurprisingly, he lost.
Yeah.
And so this is from an ABC News article. Again, an older case. I believe it happened in like 2009 or something. So the article is from like 2011. So, and this actually, Grace, is going to combine a little bit of funness from your previous episode. This man happened to be from Florida. I did not do that intentionally, but I was like, well, now that I know he's from Florida, I have to include this case here. So he was found guilty on murder and weapons charges for the homicide of his former son-in-law. Shit. And so his former son-in-law, he had just just settled a very bitter divorce with his with the assailants or the criminal's daughter. So perhaps some bad blood there. So this guy, he's from Florida, but the man that he killed actually lived in New Jersey. So he drove 21 hours, crossed state lines, drove 21 hours, apparently like through the night to New Jersey, like knocked on his door, had to like chase him up the stairs and everything, and shot him like several times.
So he could run up the stairs, but he couldn't kill someone.
Well, that's what we're going to say, or that's what his defense attorney is going to get into. Okay. So his attorney argued that, hey, this guy, he's nearly 300 pounds. He's only 5'8". So actually he's like shorter than me, or he's like somewhere between you and my height. So actually not that tall. Almost 300 pounds. He was close to 60 years old, or maybe a little over 60 years old. The defense attorney, he's like, come on.
Also, that like, overweight. Was this tried then in New Jersey? Because that's where the crime took place.
Yes. So this is a New Jersey Supreme Court, I believe, they're the ones who are, appealing and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm also just imagining then like the Jersey accent, like, come on.
That's kind of why I threw that in there. Come on. Because I believe that his attorney is also from New Jersey. So literally the dude's attorney, I don't think he said this part in court. I think he said it in an interview, because this guy was doing like a whole press circuit, right? Apparently, like he was talking to people on like the Today Show and all these other like daytime television talk shows and news shows. And so in an interview, his attorney was literally like, come on, you look at him and you don't need to hear it from a doctor. Like, how terrible is that? Also, like
rude
and rude to the client, although I'm sure the client was totally fine with him going out there and saying this, but also very rude to like overweight people. It's like assuming that they are not physically capable of doing things. Like I've seen overweight people, I don't even know if you can call it that, but like do amazing things, like way better than I can do. Cartwheels, like gymnastics.
Fat shaming.
Exactly.
That his argument was fat shaming.
And so apparently, though, this guy, he did have some military experience. But his attorney then pressed against that as well, saying, oh, come on, he worked like a desk job. He did like IT work or like technology and linguistic stuff.
And
so,
I mean,
okay,
like,
I do kind of get that. Come on. I know you just always imagine the cat with everything this attorney is saying.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on. So essentially, yeah, this attorney is just like, this guy is literally physical and capable of driving for 21 hours straight, running up a few stairs, shooting with precision too. Like he shot like all very accurate shots. Like,
yeah,
look at him. He can't do that. And also he has an alibi. So apparently he told his sister, or he called her on the phone saying, after the murder happened, like retracing the steps and like the time frame of all of it, I guess, because that's the first thing you should get on the phone and do.
And confess. No,
and confess.
If there are criminals out there, yes, that is the first thing you should do.
Yes, criminals, confess, get it off your soul with someone who you really trust, like your sister. Tell your sister, and I promise you,
gossipy friend.
Yes, and or maybe not even your most gossipy friend. Just tell anyone who you trust the most, because I promise you, the FBI will not have a wiretap on your phone when you do that.
Oh my God.
This guy thought he was getting off clean, that he trusted his sister, nothing would go wrong. And he did. And I don't think she did actually lie to the police. So I don't think she's the one who ratted him out. He ratted himself out, because turns out they had a wiretap on his phone already. They had already suspected him, probably because of that bitter divorce between his daughter and the guy that he killed. So there is already a link.
Open threats, perhaps.
Yeah. And I'm sure that there was some like CCTV video somewhere. Like, this is post 9/11 in New Jersey. I don't know where exactly in New Jersey, how close to New York it was, but local security, like there are cameras at like every traffic light just about in bigger cities. So like this guy, it would not be hard to track him down and find out that he's a leading suspect.
Toll roads once you get into the Northeast, like
exactly, yeah, especially coming from Florida, you have to go through several toll roads. So yeah, thankfully the jury, they did not fall for any of these arguments from the fast talking New Jersey lawyer about him being too fat. They believed his sister that she actually came forward and said she lied to the police because the brother, the murderer, told her to. So they believed the sister. They did not believe the attorney or the man's physical whatever ability or inability to make this murder. So look, if you're out there, whether you're skinny, whether you're fat, it doesn't matter. The law will find you.
And I heard say you can do anything like murder. And I was like, no.
Yeah. Well, that too. Yeah. Like, no.
Please don't encourage that.
You're capable of it. Don't do it. But I'm saying don't act like your skinniness, like, oh, I was too frail, or your overweightness. Oh no, I'm too unhealthy. Like, no, anyway, people are capable of a lot of things.
Murders come in all shapes and sizes.
Exactly.
Wow. All right. Let's hear the next desperate defense.
Yeah, so the next desperate defense, and this is the last one, and this one is a bit of a doozy. So it involves just the most beautiful blending of criminal and civil law. A crime occurred, and then a civil lawsuit initiated after it. So we're going to talk a little bit about both here.
Cool.
The title,
before you launch into it, for listeners who aren't lawyers or maybe super into true crime, say what the difference between crime and civil.
Yes. So essentially, when you think of crime, you're thinking of, murder, theft. It's something that will put you behind bars, or you'll have to pay like a ridiculous fine of some sort. It's when prosecutors or the state or the city, the government is the one charging you for some violation, either a misdemeanor or a felony that could get you some amount of jail time. Whereas on the other side, you have civil law, which is more like laws against like between man to man, or like society, not so much laws or breaking laws against the state, but more so like against your neighbor or something. So that's more like contract disputes, There can be civil trespass rather than criminal trespass. There can be
like every Judge Judy episode is a civil.
Negligence, stuff like that, products liability. So like if you buy a new laptop and it explodes when you open it, that's going to be a civil thing, not a criminal thing. Well, I guess maybe down the road it could be criminal depending on what the company, but for the most part, so there are these two separate bodies of law. In civil cases, it's like a regular citizen bringing a lawsuit against another regular citizen. The government, the state is not involved, besides the fact that a judge, a court, is listening to the case. So that's the difference there. Thanks. In this case, like I said, it started criminal and then worked its way into a civil proceeding afterwards. But the title of the article that I got this from is called "A Kidnapper Sues Hostages, Says They Had a Deal." and the byline or whatever is, "Can there be no trust between a kidnapper and his hostages?" And so this is from a combined CBS News and Associated Press article. Again, another older case. I wanted to save this one for last because it is like super funny, even though, again, I apologize, it does involve a murder, but the culprit, the criminal, was just so dumb and so desperate and trying to win something in all of this awfulness of, situations that he caused. Yes. So a man in Kansas, he held a couple hostage in their home while he was fleeing from authorities who were looking to question him about the beating death of a Colorado man. And so he was being chased by the police and, just like last time, crossed state lines. Do not do that. Don't kill anyone. And then if you do, immediately turn yourself in. Yes. Do not flee, and definitely do not cross state lines. That's never good. So again, this was in 2009 when all of this happened. And so as he's trying to escape the police, he bursts into this couple's room, or into this couple's home, and he freaks him out, but he's like, hey, I'll pay you like whatever amount of money you want if you just let me hide out in your house for a bit. Be cool. It's good. Don't worry about this gun and this knife that I'm waving around, and the fact that obviously there are sirens. There are sirens coming down your street right now. Just let me hide here, please. No questions asked. Okay. But the couple did agree, probably because, like I said, this guy clearly had weapons on him and was like frantic and crazy and looked like he could do some more harm. Right. And so this guy, he ended up just actually chilling at their house. Like, the neighbors were saying that he was in there watching movies, eating snacks, just like actually what sounds like a dope like Thursday evening. Like took a bath. Yeah, got a nice shower. They maybe tucked him in. And he like actually fell asleep. I'm not sure if he like fell asleep on the couch or like in a guest room or whatever, but like thankfully he fell asleep because the couple was able to escape unharmed, and they did the absolute right thing and immediately turned him in. And we're like, he's there. Please get him out of our house right now. And so he was eventually apprehended again because the couple did the right thing there. And had an 11-year prison sentence. So actually he probably like just got out, because again, this was like 2009. Hope he's not listening. Sorry. Hey, that's today. We're not saying names here. And I actually I don't think the article even said his name. So this is good for all of us. Maybe he's like getting his 5 seconds of fame or whatever. And so, he gets his 11 years. And while he's in prison, the couple, they decide to sue him for trespassing in their house. As I said before, there can be like a civil trespass and a criminal trespass. In this case, they were civilly or in civil court suing him for trespass, and also for something that's called intentional infliction of emotional distress. I mean, I won't get into it, but yes, essentially they're saying, hey, this dude like freaked us out. He knew he would, and he did. So give us some money. And so the guy, who we will now call the defendant, because he is now being sued, the defendant, rather than being like, all right, let's go, I'll see you in court, he counterclaimed which essentially means that he didn't just respond to their lawsuit. Exactly. He sued them back in response, saying that the couple breached the oral contract between the two parties, that they would not give him up and let him hide in their house as he was on the lam from the law. And so he sued them for like almost $250,000. Partially to pay for the hospital bills that resulted from him being shot by police while he was being chased. And then probably also from like loss of income or whatever from being locked up from a crime that he occurred and deserved to be, or that he committed. Yeah, this is all your fault. Like, dude, you dug your grave. You're now sleeping in it. Yeah, so real quick, we're going to talk about contract law. We're going to leave all the criminal stuff behind. We're going to talk about contracts because this is also the area of the law that I'm more interested in rather than crime and like the sad, depressing criminal stuff, right? So one of the main elements or like requirements of forming a contract is a little thing called a meeting of the minds. Or in other words, like the parties getting into a contract. So say you have A and B, they want to get into a contract. Well, they have to like mutually agree on all of the terms and like how much money someone's going to pay you and like what they're paying you for, you know, the basic subject matter of the contract. And a funny thing about mutually agreeing is that you cannot legally mutually agree if you are under duress or if you have been coerced or if you're like mentally incapacitated. Yes.
So like someone coming in with weapons and maybe blood all over them and
like,
sirens behind
and holding them. A knife to your face or something and being chased by police. Like, agreeing with that is akin to just agreeing with someone literally pointing a gun to your head and saying, hey, sign this piece of paper. Yes. So, First big red X for this dude trying to bring a contract case. Another quick note is that there are these things called void and voidable contracts. So a void contract is a contract that was never enforceable because it essentially is like a contract to do something illegal or like literally impossible. So it's like, hey,
like hide a criminal.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, let's get into a contract to harbor a fugitive. No, a court is never going to like allow you to enforce that contract because it's straight up a crime. Or like, hey, let's get into a contract. I'll pay you to go collect every single moon rock off of the moon and bring it down here. Like, no, a court's not going to enforce that because it's literally impossible. Right.
That's what you think.
Yeah. So even from the jump, if we are going to assume that there was some sort of mutual agreement on the terms, right? Like you're getting into a contract to do a totally illegal thing. So it's never going to be enforced. Look, I could keep going on and on about how this contract was just clearly unenforceable. It wasn't even in writing, which actually is surprising. Like the fact that it wasn't in writing is probably the least like the smallest issue with the contract. Yeah, like he actually, if it wasn't for an illegal act, he might have gotten away with this oral contract. This is one of the ones that doesn't necessarily fall under what's called a statute of frauds, which is like a statute of like a list of contracts that have to be in writing to be enforced. Luckily for him, this one wouldn't have been in there if he wasn't asking them to commit a crime in the contract.
And putting them under duress.
So, exactly. All those small details.
Other things.
So clearly, this did not work out. The couple immediately was like, no, we want to move to dismiss all of his claims.
And the judge was like, done.
Yeah, done. Like, come on, dude, no contract here. Again, so I guess that guy, he actually might be out of prison now because 2009. So that would have been 2020, I guess, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
That he would have gotten out, assuming that they didn't call that breach of contract suit like bad behavior or something and like tack on a few more years. Like, what the hell? No, keep him locked up. He's a menace to society.
Wow, I love that one also because like I'm again just pick it helps me to visualize for certain aspects that I'm imagining like like in prison or jail or whatever. He's there, he's complaining to a cellmate or someone like, man, like they're suing me for X, Y, and Z. And then there's like the one person in jail who thinks that because they've had to go to court a bunch that like they're an expert on the law, and they're like, bro, I got you, like go with this contract defense. And then said, you know, our original defendant and criminal like calls up their lawyer and was like, how about this? And the lawyer's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Serious? Yeah, I will add, none of the articles that I read about this, like they never had any quotes from an attorney. Like it seemed like this guy was representing himself. So this was a pro se defendant. So he probably just like, exactly. There's a common phrase that lawyers use saying a lawyer who represents himself has an idiot for a client. And that honestly goes for like anyone, like any person who represents themselves has an idiot for a client. And especially in this case, when it's, I mean, I guess it's not a criminal case, but still he is a criminal. Like you don't have the best resources. Like I know there are some like law books and libraries in some prisons and whatnot, but like, dude, like I guess actually that's why he didn't have one. If it was related to his criminal case, then the state would have to give him, you know, you have the right to an attorney, obviously for criminal stuff. But he was like, no, I'm going civil on this. I can do this myself because dude in the commissary said, yeah, man, they made an oral contract with you. You good. You can hit him up for breach of contract, you know.
Well, also, so maybe for a future crime caper, I'll do some fun stories about serial killers who were their own lawyers.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'd be
because it happens. And the second that like one, a lot of them will like not a lot. I mean, whatever. Many of them have like repeatedly fired multiple lawyers and or just gone in straight for the I will defend myself moment. And it's both a sign in, you know, a lot of their cases on the psychology side of things, not psychologists, by the way, everyone, but like, you know, a deep sign of like narcissism and that type of stuff of the, like, I'm smarter than everyone else, but also like just getting into some of that, like defense, just never do it. Anyone like you're not
Ted Bundy do that or at least.
I'm pretty sure that he's one of the ones who had, and y'all, especially when it comes to things like that, like you're not going to go up again. Like one, if you're a lawyer, you know not to do that. But two, if you're someone, like Ted Bundy, and you're going up against like criminal defense lawyers and prosecutors,
either from like the Department of Justice or from like the state attorney general's office,
you're not gonna win.
They're
gonna get you in like 3 questions, like you dumbass.
Anyways, and like they have the manpower to like go through discovery, like get all of these documents and whatnot, and like have people review everything, whereas
like there's a reason a lot of them like in undergrad studied like drama and theater, like they know how to make a show of you or like philosophy and outthink you. Like, anyways, that'll be a future crime caper. I'll tell some stories from those.
Yes, moments. I would love that. Yes. So moral of the story, y'all, don't commit a crime, but if you do not get desperate.
Don't cross state lines.
Definitely don't get desperate with your defenses. The jury will laugh at you. I mean, do not get embarrassed in front of a jury of your peers. Just do it. It's going to be in the news.
And then people like us will laugh about you in a public setting. And you know what? They also can't sue us for defamation for laughing at them because we never said their names. So like you won't be able to bring a stupid civil suit against us.
Because we're also we're just reporting on already existing reporting. So, and it's all public record too. These were all real court cases. So,
and you know what?
Sorry, y'all.
What do we have if there's no trust between a hostage and their captors?
Nothing. It's almost like what's love got to do with it?
What if that were one of us? Before we started, that's Bird was singing that. Alexis was singing that.
It's a good song. And it's Sunday, okay? What if there was trust between kidnappers and hostages? How much different would this world be now? Wow, actually, oh boy. Okay, we're about to go off a cliff.
We're gonna end this episode
We're
here.
gonna end right there.
Yep. All right. Like, subscribe, and tune in this Saturday for a full episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries. And bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus Tune Tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.